911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Do you see what it was?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was. Just it ran across the yard.
It seems to be a Bigfoot leaning against a tree in a wooded area.
I have seen plenty of people with big feet, but not Bigfoot.
Tree lines and brush, he sees about a 7 and 7.5 foot tall Sasquatch looking back at him.
Kind of looks like a wolf, but not like a neighborhood dog.
Take these stories for what they are in hopes that maybe if it's out there, then show me.
Yeah.
And says he might have caught the mythical chupacabra creature terrorizing his chickens.
It's like a grunt and a knock. It's like a...
I think there's kind of a cultural tendency for people to want to make Bigfoot a quote-unquote monster.
Welcome to ECBRO Bigfoot Radio.
And now, for those already tuned in, I just want to share a brief, short little video of just a few camp scenes, and pay attention to the beginning image in this short video. So yeah, that was just something I threw together with just a few of the scenes. Now the image at the end, I know like what I've been sharing with you, David, with the illustration I've been recreating. I know that's a illuminated light, but just kind of give a general idea, which I guess we'll kind of get into that. And for those who are actually tuned in already, some of them are familiar. They're from Facebook, so they kind of know a little bit about what we're probably going to talk about. And on the other hand, there's a lot of more people that have no clue what we're talking about or what we will be talking about. So I know I personally, and I know you guys feel the same way. We kind of wish camp wasn't over yet. It was just a great relaxing time just being out there. You can never get enough of being out there. But Pete, I want to ask you, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, is like, how was your experience out there with us? I mean, I know it's been a while since you've been out there in the woods camping, but overall, yeah, if you want to give us a rundown of what you felt and thought about everything.
Oh, wow. Well, I must say it was a very relaxing time. I had a good time. It was very peaceful, to be honest with you. But not, it's been forever since I last camped, and just getting back into the swing of camping again was like it's like I started all over basically. So, but once I got the hang of it and got in there, everything, I was having a good time. The hike that we went on was pretty fascinating, actually. I mean, it was a lot of wooded area that not a lot of people see, especially near the lake. The lake was by far the best part of the whole trip. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. But I didn't get to see everything that you and Drew got to see because I didn't go. I was actually pretty beat from the day before's hike, so I kind of took it easy. But it was a very good trip. If you ask me to go again, I'll definitely go again without a doubt. So I had a good time. Thanks for inviting me, though.
Oh, absolutely. It was my pleasure, and I'm glad that you came out there. I think I can speak for all of us. I think we all enjoyed your company for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, most definitely. And we would love to definitely have you out there again. Come out, as far as September, I do believe we're going to have a couple of extras. I know there was a couple that joined us back in October last year, Craig and his wife, Sherry, from Pennsylvania. They have confirmed that they'll be coming out with us in September. So they're great people, very nice people. So we'll be glad to have them out again. And then we'll kind of see who else we get from there. I know David and Melissa, Sarah, who came out and visited for a little bit on Saturday. I think she came out Saturday. Singer Glenn. I know she made it known to me that she wished she was actually camping with us because she wished she was there. And, I think she's going to try to make it a point to join us next time because, I guess after being out there and with her visit and seeing all the pictures, it really grew on her. Like, man, I got to join you guys, So yeah, we'll see how that works out with her, and
yeah, well, she lives close enough too to where even if we couldn't make it out there to camp like we did, run back and forth to meet with us to do things in the daytime and or night, So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's just
Singer's Glen.
Yeah, she's just on that ridge that we look at east of our camp. She just lives on the other side of that ridge. So
she's in a group chat right now, and she's already said yep to your answer about going camping.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, I should be looking at the group chat. I'm not even on that yet right now. So
yeah, you should.
I'm over there now. I just clicked on it. So
yeah, John's in there too.
I don't even see the chat.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Melissa's got it up on her phone.
Yeah, I pulled it up on my cell phone.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it looks on your end because I can view it on my. Since I'm hosting, I can view it. I have options to view all that stuff here. Let's see. What's the other?
Pete,
hey, John.
I wanted to bring up.
Hey, John. I see you.
The YouTube, you can look it up there.
See, I know. Man, I'm brain farts remembering people's names. This is pitiful. I know the others. Tara, Tara. She said she's definitely going to come back. She had a great time. So of course, Drew I'm glad he's communicating, and got back with us. I know he's busy and stuff, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, Daniel, we're getting a little bit of feedback on your end.
Okay, it shouldn't be on my end. Tell you what, I'm gonna try something. I want to try something.
Unless you hear from us, but you're the only one when you're talking it gets garbled just a bit. You hear the same
I
thing?
got a good signal here. I don't know if Pete heard you. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll try to keep it brief. Pete, they're asking if I talk. Do you hear any?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Interference when I talk?
Yeah, occasionally I do.
Yeah, it's minor, but we heard it. So.
But you're good. Okay. I mean, you can continue on. Yeah. It's not like it's unauditable. Okay. It's not like that.
Okay. All right, no problem. Yeah, I wonder if it's my earbuds acting up because I don't know. Because I got my wireless earbuds in. So, so Pete, I do want to ask you. while you were out there, anytime during out there, I know you were well focused and kind of zoned into the area, especially when we did our hikes and stuff. Did you pick up on anything? Did you sense anything? Because I mean, if Tara was here, I would actually ask her to say the same thing. 'Cause I know she was telling me a few things that she was picking up on out there that she sensed and felt. But I was just curious if you felt anything while you were out there.
Okay, well, the hike to the lake, not so much on the way back, but on the way to the lake, yes. I did feel like I was being watched, honestly. I did. It felt really weird. I constantly was looking to my right a lot, like over where the creek and the river was. It was I don't know. I was just drawn over there a lot. I was waiting to see, if maybe Rex or Luna picked up on it, but nope, they didn't pick up on it. But to me, I just felt like, something was there and looking, especially far, far out. Like I could see some trees cut down way over past the creek. There's a whole area. And I think I was even talking to Melissa during that time. She was talking about how it was, that there was more campsites over that direction, but it wasn't like a sense of dread. It just was more like it feeling like somebody was, something was looking at you kind of thing.
What about the night hike? Did you feel anything on the night hike when we headed out towards the gate area?
Yes, that absolutely. That I could definitely tell on the way back, like when Drew had his little episode, that when I was looking through Daniel's camera, I was like, I even told him, I'm like, what is that? Because it just looked weird. It was in the woods. It looked, I don't know, but it was a
like
black.
You like a doorway in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like
an opening.
Yeah, it looked like a black opening. I mean, he would shine a light over that way, and the light would not even light it up. It was like still dark, black. And I was like, and that's why I said, what is that? I can't even tell what that is.
Well, y'all didn't even tell me about that.
Yeah, this is my first time hearing this.
Oh no! Yeah, me too. So I don't want to scare. I don't want to scare you all.
Well, it ain't gonna scare me.
No.
Well, I can recall because I kind of more or less ruled it out as like some kind of dark shadow, just the way, cause it was thick bushes. I mean, the camera was picking up everything. I had the night vision on through my camera, and it was lighting up the woods real well. I had good distant view of everything 20, 30 feet out in front of us. But what we were looking at through the camera, I know at one point not Drew, but Pete actually described it as almost like a black mass or a possible figure. When I looked at it, it looked at like it was like a doorway or it was definitely solid dark, but it was like, I just ruled it out as just like a shadow or a gap between the bushes.
That's called denial.
What's that?
That's called denial.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like we try to be critical of things, and but
we do.
So I mean, it could have been something a lot more. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, we kept looking at it. It did stand out through the camera. So, and I just saw a message pop up. Drew said he just now saw that message. He's actually having dinner with Nicole right now. So, yeah. So, no problem. But yeah, it was interesting. And then, of course, I'm going to tell you what, we'll get into what happened not long after that. David, you were the first one to take notice of what you saw. I'm going to let you talk about what we saw out there because you're the first one who noticed it before you brought it to my attention, and then I saw it.
So we keep everything chronological to sort of build a picture of what entirely happened. Let's start with that trail cam picture first to get that knocked out. The trail cam picture was taken during the camp out, and I missed that one on setting the date and time myself. That was my fault. But it was taken during that week. My first thought it could have been a large cat because the trail cam I placed on a small trail that led down into the stream bed about 100 yards from camp, and I placed it about 3 foot off the ground. It was clear in front of it, no stumps, nothing for any other animal to climb up on to be able to stand up if they would got the scent of the trail cam or whatever. But it's just odd being about 3 foot off the ground, catching that, being that close where the IR reflected off the hair and stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure it's the back of the head because I think that if it was facing it with the eyes, we'd have got some eye shine, some reflection from the eye, from the IR. So I think it's the back of the head. And then, Daniel, you posted it out there to get other people's opinion and stuff, and we got multiple types of opinions. But from the feedback I was getting back from you it seems like the majority consensus is it could be a mountain lion cougar or whatever the case may be. But I don't think we'll ever know at this point unless we get something more clear. But it's fascinating to catch something like that, especially it wasn't ground level. It was about 3 foot high. You had to walk down the embankment a little bit more to get down into the stream bed. Because if you look in front of it, you can see the stream bed in the foreground.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it was interesting. It's good to get other people's feedback. We're not going to dismiss anything. You know, we're not about that. We just want to get other opinions on stuff like that.
Right.
Well, like about the trail cam, go ahead as far as that.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, you've seen a lot of the comments that I tagged you in that post, and yeah, a majority of the comments, and I've had a couple messages, directly to me regarding the image. But yeah, a majority of them were saying, yeah, that's then again, there were some that said raccoon. I've had a few that said raccoon. Now, as far as being a cat, I've had some saying it was either a domestic house cat or a feral cat. Well, so again, the majority was leaning towards feline, which is fine. Everyone, that's their opinion. Like I said, we'll never know for sure unless we had another position of camera to capture otherwise, other angles of it. So it's all speculation at this point. Now, to give people that don't know this area a rundown on just a brief little bit of background history from what I've gathered over the years prior to ever camping out there, I've known several sources and I met others who all come forward and said, yes, that area, be careful. There's a lot of mountain lions in that area. Joe Smo seen one. This person seen one. I've worked with the old time. He's probably as old as my father, probably a little older by now. But my buddy Richard, he's in his upper 70s, mid to upper 70s. He was always around the same age as my father, so he's probably mid 70s or more. But he grew up in this area. He knew this area. He's been there. He's spent a lot of time in young days out in the woods. So, but he told me, he said, Daniel, I've seen both bobcats and mountain lions. He said, I am leaning on this being a mountain lion, which I take, what he has to share, I take a lot of serious consideration with that. Now, I think I speak for all of us that, because we camp there and, I know the story of mountain lion sightings and reports in this area. We want to believe that it's a mountain lion, again, I'm all about taking others' opinions into consideration, but it's just for people to say it's a raccoon. I don't know. It's not that don't add up to me. It don't make sense to me. It would have to be a freaking giant ass raccoon, even if it's sitting there. I know there's some big raccoons. I've seen big fat giant raccoons cross the road on me in Elkhorn Lake at night. Driving down the forest road.
Or they're 3 foot tall when they stand up. Because the head alone, you're looking at, I'm guessing about maybe 6 or 7 inches just to the back of the head alone. And that's a guess on that aspect. So you're talking, I don't know if a raccoon ain't that tall when it stands up. And there was nothing for him to stand on in that area.
Well, regardless if it was raccoon or cat, I guess it depends on the position or the angle of the head. I felt like we should have seen some whiskers too, but I guess that doesn't mean nothing either. But I was thinking about whiskers. You
same
know,
here.
both cats and raccoons will show whiskers, but you know,
I just don't know.
yeah. But nonetheless, I will say it was a definitely fascinating, interesting picture. And for those who are probably wondering what we're talking about, if you were with us at the beginning of the live show when we started here, I shared that video, and that was the first image in that last video I shared in the intro clip. So, and also if you're new, if you haven't seen the pictures on Facebook, I have them posted on Facebook on my timeline in the ECBRO Facebook group. So. Now, for those, you know, David got his all picture. Have you finished going through all your trail cam pictures, David?
I have. The only other thing I caught was a spike buck in front of one of my others feeding in front of the area, but the rest of them, nothing. It's windy. A lot of wind was setting them off and stuff. So between the spike buck and that one image that we don't know, I got nothing else on trail cam itself. But right now I'm working on my videos as far as that.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's it for the trail cam aspect. Again, that was my fault for not setting the date and time. And, you know, I try to be perfect, but nobody can be perfect as far as that. I did get everything else.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't even know, but I had no idea about the date until somebody was commenting about something.
I didn't
and
catch
said,
it either.
well, I see this was the old picture. Yeah, and then I said, old picture. I said, no. Then I zoomed in. I actually zoomed in on the data strip on the picture. I said, oh, he's got 2022 on this. I've done the same thing, so don't feel bad.
No.
Yeah. So that's no problem. You know, people, you know, for those who know about trail cam images know that, you know, it might be a new picture, but it might say, because there's been times where I haven't set the dates and everything on mine either. So, and I try to stay on top of that. I need to double check on mine right now. Oh, go ahead, Pete.
Oh, my coworker's talking to me. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Okay. No, you're fine.
All right. That's it for the trail cam aspect. Unless you got something else you want to add, then we'll get into the other part.
Yeah, I just wanted to make note that, yes, for those watching and listening, so David collected his cameras. He's pretty much gone through everything. Now, I almost picked mine up on the last day, but I got to thinking about it. You know, because they were out there all week long while we were out there, and I just decided something told me just to leave them out there a little longer. So I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I was gonna put 4 out there, but I only got 3. I got 3 cameras out there right now. I know exactly where they are. I see them in my head, same position where I put them at. So yeah, there's 3 cameras of mine still out in the woods, and mine are in a different location from where David had his. Oh no, I got 4. I'm sorry, I got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I got 4 out there. I got 4. I just remember the 4th one. The 4th one wasn't that far from camp, but it was actually across from camp. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Whatever that was, if there is a mountain lion or mountain lions, plural, singular, whatever, if there are any roaming that area, I think that would be awesome if we could capture a good clear image of one.
Yeah.
Because while you know, as we're talking about trail cam photos, it brings me to the thought of what Drew experienced. Now he's not here to talk about this, but he shared this with us, and Drew's story. I mean, his encounter was the same. It happened the same night that we had the other occurrence, which we'll get into that shortly. Drew was when we all left out. I mean, I'm only sharing this like this for those who weren't there and for those who were watching. We set out one evening for a night hike, and we were going up the forest road. Our mission was to head up towards the gate where you have to park to walk in to the lake. Well, so we made it up there. We took our time. It was getting dark, and where Drew set up at, you know, it's like we made sure it was cool with Drew. So, you know, everybody wanted to come with me and David. So Drew was cool, staying there by himself. Drew stayed in an open area, which is one of the camp spots right before you get further into the tree line. Well, he decided to stay there and hang out there. It was falling, and we continued on, and we took our time working our way up to the gate, and what was interesting, I'm sure, I know Pete heard things. I don't know, Dave, like we were hearing movement in the woods and stuff. And most likely it was probably deer moving around because we all know there's tons of deer up there. So yeah, we were hearing things here and there in the woods as we're working our way along. But here's where it got interesting, because I think when we got the radio call, I think Melissa was the one that radioed to us to tell us about Drew's experience, what happened to Drew. And we're all standing nearby listening on the radio that something happened to Drew. Like something, Drew got scared. And like, okay, that was kind of mind-boggling. Oh, what the heck happened to Drew? I was like, I hope, we were hoping he was okay, but we were curious and anxious to get back to camp to talk to Drew because we were up the gate. Of course, when Drew shared all this information himself with us, and he said he blew the whistle. He was blowing the whistle at what was coming after him. I say coming after him, but it was approaching him. So for those who don't know, and you guys fill in any details because sometimes I leave out a lot of details. Drew was out there by himself, and he was shining his light around, and he picked up on some eye shine in the field across from where he was set up at. And he's seen these two sets of eyeballs. One was sitting back a little further, and the way he described it sounded like it set up a little higher, as if maybe it was on a tree limb. I don't know. Coming through the tall grass. He didn't get detailed look at it, except it was noticeable in the tall grass, where I guess maybe that, I'm assuming since he saw the eyes shine really good, the eyes were sitting up just above the tall grass. So I'm assuming it was a four-legged creature, and it was coming towards him as he talked about.
Yeah, the grass was around waist high, anywhere from 3 to 4 foot, which varied through the field there. So it had to be pretty tall to be able to see over the grass.
Right. And even just as John says, he says, yes, he was very upset. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we can hear you, Pete. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
I think
he's coming back.
Yeah, I lost Damien.
I'm sorry. That was my fault. I pushed the wrong button that threw me out. I was trying to get the comment up there, but that's what happened. It threw me out when I pushed the wrong button. So.
Yeah, Drew also said that when he was watching, he watched it for several minutes. Those two images, and one was in a tree line, one was about between him and the tree line. And when it showed us the area, it's probably about 30 to 40 yards away from him. He said he'd seen this eye shining at him, and he was watching it. And then he tried to sidestep to his right a little bit, and then whatever it was moved with his movement. And then he blew the whistle a couple of times. When it didn't respond to the whistles, then Drew says that's when he basically got in the, I don't want to say panic mode, but I'm going to use panic mode. He said it was time to get the heck out of Dodge. And so he headed on back to camp at a pretty good pace. He didn't waste any time doing that. Maybe Drew could tell his full story at some point, but it really shook him up. He's never had nothing like that before.
Yeah.
But leading into that, what's strange about it is between where we were camped and where Drew was, you're looking at roughly a half a mile, maybe a half a mile or just under half a mile walk, because that was the end campsite from where we were before we entered more of the more dense area of the forest. Then from where we left him, you're looking at about maybe roughly another half mile walk to the gate. So we are roughly about maybe a mile or so from the campsite when we got to the gate. After we went down to the stream bed and showed them that other campsite down there by the gate and where the stream bed was, while we were standing there, Melissa called us on the radio and said, Drew's back at camp and it's pretty shook up. And at that point, she gave us a little bit more detail that he's seen some things in the woods that shook him up. He blew the whistle. We didn't hear him blow the whistle because, again, we were about a half a mile away from him. And they didn't either. So you're looking at about maybe equal distance. Again, all this is estimates. I never really actually measured it. Go by time of walking, which, you take your time walking. It could be a little bit further. But anyway, once you gave us a radio call, we started heading back. I did most of my walking without my flashlight on because I wanted to let Luna do her thing a little bit. Not that she does anything. I just wanted to pay attention to her while I'm looking around in the darkness. See if she picks up any scent, something gets her attention, whatever the case may be. So we started not a fast pace back. We started walking back, and I led most of the way. When we got about halfway from the gate to where we left Drew, I was walking in the dark. Daniel was behind me. I don't know about how far, not that far, because we were talking back and forth a little bit. And then Pete and Tara was behind Daniel a little further back, taking in the sights and looking at what they were looking at. But we started to come up around one bend. I wish we would have marked that spot when it happened, but we didn't think about it at the time.
Yeah.
I was walking along in the dark, and then off to my left, I didn't see it turn on. It was like the brush and trees as you're walking past by. I seen a light under my peripheral vision. It looked like a flashlight, but it didn't have a glow. It was a crisp, pure light. First impression, it looked like a flashlight. Somebody was pointing it at you. When I spotted it, I looked at it for at least 2 seconds, and it wasn't doing anything. And then that's when I whispered to Daniel behind me. I pointed and said, light, and I pointed in the direction I was seeing it. And when Daniel looked over at him at the light area, he got a glimpse of it. And it was maybe a second or so later, it sort of glowed up just a bit and then fizzled down to nothing and disappeared. Just blinked out.
Yeah. If I can add in here real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When you got my attention, and I actually stepped right beside you as your arm was still extended, and I was looking at your arm and I looked straight out there. By the time I looked out there, the way I can describe my point of view from what I saw was clearly like, even at the distance we've seen it, it looked like probably like a basketball size of light. I mean, it was there. I probably seen it for a good 2.5 seconds, almost 3 seconds. Like you said, you've seen it for maybe 3 seconds more. I at least got a good 2 to 3 seconds of it.
It was quick.
Yeah, because by the time I leaned in, I seen that ball of light. Which I don't know if you got to the point where it did not illuminate the area. I don't know if you were to talk about that or not.
No,
okay, I'll let you continue on. So.
No, that's fine.
It was very interesting.
First impression, it could have been a flashlight, somebody out in the woods. And then I got to thinking, later we got to talking. If a person, Drew had, when we left the gate, it took us about maybe 20, 25 minutes of walk from the gate to where Drew had his encounter, but Drew was no longer there. So we got about a 25-minute span from the time we got the radio call to where we seen the light. Drew had already departed that area about 20, 25 minutes earlier by the time we got up there walking. So you get a time frame there, because where Drew had his encounter is up around the road, maybe 100 or so yards from where we've seen the light in the woods. And I'm trying to draw a correlation here. Now, both incidents happened in the same general location. But when the light glowed out, it didn't blink out like normal flashlights. So if you hit the button, it's gone. It's like the old time flashlights where if you turned it off with the old bulbs in them, you had that slight glow and it just dimmed out pretty quick. That's what it looked like for me when it dimmed out. But there was nothing there. And when we seen it, it didn't illuminate the woods at all. If it was a flashlight with a direct view that we seen it, we'd have been illuminated.
Right.
In my opinion, because nothing was illuminated, but yet you could see that light there. I got on the radio and I asked Melissa and them, has any cars gone along the gravel road back here where we were camping at? Because straight through the woods, a little off to the left would be our campsite, maybe a half a mile away. No cars had even come through there. In case a car light might have been passing through. I tried to rule out things while we were standing there. So that area was quiet. And when it glowed out, I got your attention. You were looking at it at that time and stuff like that, but it never did come back. Plus, if it was a person while we were walking up there, they would have heard us and seen us long before we seen that light. Because Pete was using his flashlight off and on, Tara was using hers. We were talking a little bit, and no, we wasn't talking and yelling loud or nothing like that. But you're going to hear voices coming up that gravel road. Probably even hear people walking to a certain point on the gravel. But that light I cannot explain. It's the first time I've ever seen something like that. I'm not one to go running off and start saying it's this and that and everything else, but I mean, I don't have that kind of a mind. For those who don't know me, it's this podcast. I'm retired Army, 21 years. I spent a lot of time in the woods. I ran around the jungles of Panama for 3 years. Then I was in law enforcement there, and then I came back and got into law enforcement, and I retired from the local sheriff's office here. So my mind is the analytical type. If you see something you can't explain, you want answers for it. You're not going to run off. I'm not going to run off on the beaten path and start claiming it's this and claiming it's that. But I will say I've heard stories of people seeing balls of light in the woods. I've never seen it before until that night. And I'm glad I got a witness that Daniel seen it too, because something was there. I still wasn't done analyzing it yet, because as we were walking back, I kept scanning ahead to see if I could see any lights coming from camp. I never did. When we went back the next day to give Drew's account of what he went through, I looked at the terrain. I mean, you got too much wood, too much vegetation, 3 to 4 foot tall grass, and the ground is not level through there. It goes up and down, wavy type. So I don't even think you'd even see a headlight. And our headlights wasn't on. Nobody was in camp turning the vehicles on. But even if it was a headlight turned on in camp, I don't think you would have seen it from the position we were at, because due to the ground, how it was, vegetation, and all the brush and everything through there. So I ruled that out. I mean, I just kept studying that because I want answers. I want a logical answer to what I've seen. But I can't explain it. I cannot explain it. I have no idea what that was, what caused it. And 20 to 25 minutes from Drew's experience, same area, general location, probably within 100 yards of each other, we've seen that light in the middle of the woods. It wasn't on the roadway. It was off in the wood line. And it wasn't moving around like somebody walking with a flashlight. No beams of light we've seen, nothing illuminated. We wasn't illuminated when it looked like it could have been pointed at us at the point in time when we first seen it. It was just, everything was dark around it, but yeah, you could see that sphere. Did I call it a sphere? That ball of light.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's safe to say. I mean, you know.
But again, it was crisp around the edges. It was sharp. It did not have any kind of glow around the edge or nothing until it got ready to go out. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I don't have the answer. I'd like to see something like that again. You hear stories about portals, all that other stuff, which could be associated with that. I mean, I can't say here and there on that, but I can only tell you what we saw. And I'm amazed by it. I'm thrilled by it. And I hope to experience something like that again. I'm still looking for answers for that.
Absolutely.
Then we get back to camp. Pete tells his story and stuff. Pete was pretty shook up with what he's seen.
Not Pete.
Drew,
not Pete. Drew. I'm sorry, Pete. I didn't mean to get in on that. Drew was pretty shook up with what he's seen. And it's just amazing how all that happened in the same general location, probably within a 100, 150 yard circumference of each other. Are they related? I don't know.
Okay, John's got a question. He wants to know, was that the same direction as the black mass from earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to get to that, because that's when, right before the light or after the light. Correct me. Fill me in on that, Pete, because it was during that time. I can't remember if it was before the light or after the light.
Within seconds of each other, it really was. It was like, it was like you saw the light, and you were then looking for the light with your night vision. Yeah, that. Yeah. And then shortly after that, that's when I came up behind you, and you were looking for that light, and that's when I saw the black mass. It was like all within like a 5-minute, window.
That's right, because I think that's what was that when I handed you my camcorder with my night vision to pull up the focus using my thermal, because I had Tara. My thermal was in my backpack. I had Tara pull out my thermal.
Yep,
and I had it turned on right away because I scanned the area looking for a heat signature.
Yeah.
David walked further up ahead of us in the darkness without light
Mhm.
with his thermal to try to view from a different angle and position. Neither one of us picked up any heat signatures in the area. And,
Nope.
trying to rule out, hey, is there somebody there? We did not pick nothing up,
Mm-mm.
So,
Well,
yeah.
that's why I went
it-
up in the dark with Luna, because I figured if you all stayed back a little bit and I just take her up there in the dark, see if
Yeah.
she would pick up anything, whether it's scent, sound, or whatever. But again, she acted normal at that point.
Hey, Luna.
Other than what natural dogs do. But of course, wind direction, if it wasn't in the right from scent cone, she would have picked up scent anyway. But sound, she would have. It wasn't a person. I can guarantee you that. It wasn't a person.
That's
Hey,
our squash hunt. That's our squash hunting dog right there.
Yep. That's it.
Rex did a good job too. Rex did a fantastic job out there.
Yeah, we need to get Luna and Rex together more often. Luna needs to get used to Rex.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, hey everyone. I hate to jet. We have about 15 minutes and then I close the store, and I need to help my coworker here close up the store, but I'm going to be listening still. But I had a good time, everybody. I really did. And I hope to make it to the next one.
Excellent. Hey, thank you for coming on tonight, Pete. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Hugs to everyone. Right. I'll see you next time.
You.
All right, yep. Let the show go on. I'll be watching.
All right. Good deal. So that was definitely a very interesting occurrence that took place there, because, I don't speak about it much, but many have heard me, and I know I talked to you guys about it, and I spoke to others about it, but I don't make a big deal out of it. It's just more of a note, a mental note that I usually keep in my mind based off of what I've experienced when I was up in Pennsylvania. Now, I talked about the little flashing stars in the woods. That was very strange, seeing the yellow and blue and even maybe a couple of reds here and there. And then another occurrence that happened, seeing these little light blue looking balls of light in Pennsylvania when we did our group camp out up there. I just was very kind of like dumbstruck over that, not knowing what to think. They were smaller lights. They were kind of spread out. Now seeing something in Virginia, that's got me really scratching my head, because I spent years in the woods in Virginia here. Not once before this moment. I repeat, not once have I ever seen anything strange with any kind of lights whatsoever in the state of Virginia. All the years I've been in the woods down here. And,
this light here, it wasn't in the distance. My estimation, it was around probably 35 to 40 yards from us. It wasn't like it was off in the distance where you see a distant light. I mean, it was just right in the woods, not too far from us, because you had a lot of vegetation behind it anyway. I don't think you'd seen anything. So it wasn't a distant light that we seen that night. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty doggone close.
So this comment right here, this gentleman's asking, he wants to know, is this in the same area where I had my 2014 encounter? Because we seen 3 squatches back in 2014 that several of us witnessed together. So I just want to clarify, no, this is not in the same area. It's the same national forest, but how many miles would you say Elkhorn Lake is from where we were?
From Timberville, for us, it's about an hour and 15-minute drive.
Okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, there you go. It's about an hour distance between where my main research area, where that encounter took place, versus where we are. Same national forest, but this particular location is, it's a little further north, from this, from my main research area. Also, we are closer to West Virginia, but we're still in Virginia. Even my main research area is close to West Virginia. If you go up about 5 to 6 miles on the other end of the forest road, you're overlooking West Virginia. Sugar, like you go down towards Sugar Grove, you're overlooking Sugar Grove, and you're not far from Reddish Knob, so you're almost on the Reddish, West Virginia line out that way. But so they're both in Virginia, but both close to West Virginia. If that makes any sense for those who watching and listening. So. But I just wanted to clarify that because I saw him pull up that comment, ask that question. So, but yeah, Elkhorn Lake has its own experiences. I've had a lot of experiences over there, but again, I've never seen no strange lights in the woods. I mean,
and that's my first.
Nothing. Yeah, my first in Virginia to see something like that. That light that we saw had no comparison to what I saw up in of Pennsylvania. The lights up there were a lot smaller. This looked like it was a big bright light, but with no illumination, with no projection of beam. So it's very strange. It's a different type of light. Yeah, it was definitely a different type of light.
Even though we only seen it for like 3 or 4 seconds, it seemed like an eternity. I mean, I seen it, you seen it, and then poof, it's gone. Something was there. Two people don't see the same thing for one's imagination.
Absolutely. In my mind, I didn't say it out loud amongst anybody there, but I was thinking, what the, who's there? My first thought was, who's in the woods? Yeah, who's working their way through that thick brush and that thick woods right there, looking at us? Like, are they trying to hide from us? I mean, that's why I we can pull the thermal. The thermal will tell everything.
If it was a person in there, if it was a person, we'd have heard them going through that brush.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
There ain't no that. Then when we turned flashlights on that area, it was clear. There was nobody around there. We'd have heard somebody walking with the light on or without. Ain't no doubt about that, because that's a lot of noise going through there with that deadfall.
Yeah, even now it's definitely puzzling, because I mean, the only other thing, we try to think of everything critical, logical, or everything possible that we can try to rule out. It's nothing's adding up,
No.
I mean, is there a light out there that does not illuminate? Or is there a light out there that does not project? I don't know. I mean, but still, again, that goes back to picking up the thermals, scanning the air with thermals. We did not pick up no heat out there whatsoever. I know I didn't. I mean, and I'm sure if you did, you would have said something. So,
Yeah, no thermal, no IR pickup, no nothing.
Right. And ladies and gentlemen, for those listening, I mean, this is what we saw. We're not making this up to expand our experiences, but this is what we experienced. This is what we saw. And I've always said, if I ever see something that people talk about, I'm not going to jump on board and say, yeah, balls of light, weird floating orbs. No, if I see it, I'm not afraid to admit to it. If it's something I witnessed, I will admit to it. But
that's what we're out there for.
This is what we witnessed. Right.
That's what we're out there for. And I'm not going to make that story to embellish anything. I'm not about that. And I don't want anybody else to embellish their experiences either. If you have an experience, tell it, but don't embellish it or make things up. I mean, I'm not about that. I'm out there to find answers, have fun, relax, and just continue doing it. Maybe we'll have something like that happen again this fall.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll find out.
So John mentioned portal. I personally don't see that being a portal though, but I mean,
I can't say yay or nay. I look at the two incidents that happened. I mean, I keep an open mind too, but I can't say yay or nay. Drew's spot within 100 yards or so, that happened, and then that black mass that you all kept secret until tonight. I mean, all that's in the same general location.
Well, when I get around to my video, I have a lot of video footage to go through and edit. When I go, that brings me to this. When you brought the attention to that light, I had my camcorder, and like I said, I had it recording on and off periodically throughout that whole night hike.
Same way with my body cam, but I didn't have it on at that moment.
But that's the thing. I don't recall if I had it recording, and if I did, I don't even know if that would have picked that up. But I had my camera going, and I had the thermal. I mean, not the thermal, but I had the night vision. My camcorder has a good night vision. Plus, I had my attachment on that illuminated the area pretty well.
Well, maybe you got lucky and caught it.
Maybe I haven't even touched my SD card on that my camcorder yet.
No, so that's fine. When you get
because I'm still gathering other information. I need to get situated and get myself back on track with work and everything else, and kind of focus on little things at a time. Yeah,
Well, you
and
can't
then,
rush,
like I said,
can't rush
if I
through
could,
you can't rush through the stuff either. I mean, otherwise you're going to miss stuff. So you got to take your time. Just like I
Yeah,
take time on my
absolutely.
video stuff together. I mean, you want to get through it. You want to do it as fast as you can, but you got to slow down so you don't miss nothing.
now John just mentioned, he said, I've seen that light before years ago. That's interesting. I know we talked about it. I don't know if I'm surprised he didn't bring that up to us sooner. But he said he's seen that. I guess the way we describe it, he's seen that years ago.
Yeah, wasn't no colors, the pure white light.
Yep, absolutely. Now, for those watching and listening, I know I was sharing. I was working on something last night as far as putting an illustration together based off of what we've seen. Because again, I don't think I captured it on camera, so that's why I was working on doing that little illustration that I kept sending back to you, and you were correcting me on, okay, you got to make it last a little longer. It wasn't that short, So hopefully that will give people a general idea on what we saw out there, So
right. Except for the glow part, you can do nothing about that. But the light we saw that Daniel's representation is, it did not glow like that. It's a crisp, pure light. But Daniel did what he could with his representation. To give an indication the best he could with what we saw. So don't take that spot being that glow as what we encountered. That's not it. But He did the best he could with that. I don't have anything to do that with. I didn't for that, but Daniel does. So he did the best he could with that. So Chris.
So yeah, you guys.
Light.
Yeah, you guys will see the illustration that's going to be added into the film, the project that I'm working on. I have a lot of video footage. I haven't even started. Step into the video footage that I got from the whole camp out in our exploring. There's going to be a lot of editing to do and scenes I'll be clipping and editing from. So when that comes out, again, this will be the first episode. It'll be the first thing. I haven't really figured out how I want to do season or like set episodes, but I don't know. I know you guys have been seeing me promote doing Bigfoot Explorers. I may do them in sessions, I don't know. I may only be able to do one every so often. But I'm going to try to film and every investigation possible. So some of these films that I plan on putting together, you may see more interviews and eyewitnesses talk about their experiences. I did not get entirely as much as on interviews and people talking as much as I wanted to during our filming. I mean, so I guess time will tell. I mean, I'll be able to work. I'll work with what I have to work with. I do want to take my time with this because I want it to be right. I want it to look good. I want people to get a feel of what we do, what we experience, and I want it to be educational at the same time. So, I don't know. We'll see. And don't expect to see a Bigfoot in every film you see out there because if we capture one, hey, that's awesome. I mean, I know I didn't know that. I figured that was somebody that was related to you that commented under the pictures. Like I don't see no Bigfoot.
That's Keith. Keith is a practical joker. He's my cousin back in Kentucky, Indiana.
Yeah, that's why I commented. I said, "Are we supposed to?" I don't know.
That's why I said, "Come join us, cuz."
Yeah, so I figured I saw the last name, Lester, so I was like, okay, probably related to one of you guys.
I think people don't expect for the films you want to put together to have a Bigfoot or something dramatic in every one. That's not what we're about. Unlike a lot of these others get on there, they embellish things, blow things out of proportion and whatnot. Maybe some people like that, but when you and I and everybody else that we're involved with wants to keep it down to earth. Right. What we experience, whether it may just be one camp out, we don't catch nothing, but if we put bits and pieces together, just hiking around, having a good time, people like to see that,
Right.
What
absolutely.
What do the woods look like? What do the trails look like? Stuff like that.
And that's most of my individual solo videos. I mean, I like to share the scenery, you know, and a lot of people appreciate me. You know, it's like I'm taking them along with me, basically, you know. So, and of course, there's always a bonus. Yeah, it's always a bonus or a plus if we do capture something good on there. But you know, that's people got to understand you can't expect that. So but if it's there, it's there. You know, so. Yeah, like I've been featured in like what 3-4 different documentaries. You know, they're expecting to see Bigfoot captured on film. That ain't what a documentary's about. They don't realize learn what a documentary is versus a whatever. You know, it's documentaries based off of people's experiences and eyewitness accounts, and you know, and what they do. You know, so it varies, but you know, and you get to hear from eyewitnesses.
A lot of the intrigue is also you find things that are questionable. You get it on film, raise questions, spur people's imagination with what you see, but you can't put a nail in it to what it is 99.9% of the times. But you know what it ain't. But if you can't say what it is, then you can't say what it ain't. And like the structures and stuff like that, you're going to have it natural. Well, I don't know. Some of them, when you look at the physics behind it, you know, it could be questionable on how that came to be. But that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Further
like
imagination, raise questions, and look for answers.
Yeah, like when me and Drew did our hike up behind camp, you know, we found some very interesting things. Some of the pictures I posted about what we found on some of the structure formations, I look back at those pictures. Again, they don't really do what we found very much justice, because I mean, some of the things we found to me were very intriguing. You know, the details of what we saw. Some of them were like teepee structures. Some of them had some twisting or woven trees caught and wrapped around other trees. Just I don't know. It's like they were manipulated. You know, so. It was very interesting to see what we saw up there. I mean, Drew could tell you, if Drew was here, you know, he's seen a lot of what I was filming and taking pictures of up there. We were looking at things together. He was pointing stuff out. He was finding some real good stuff, you know. But, you know, we both took pictures of what we were finding. But again, to see the picture, that you would have to be there. You know, you really have to be there to see the details of what we were observing, you know. We were looking at all the details of all the structural formations, like, okay, did weather do this? Could have weather do this, you know? In some instances, yes, but some of them had us really questioning otherwise, you know? Because, you know, again, for those who know me, I always try to look at things at all different points of views and all angles. But you always get questioned, you know, it leaves you questioning things like, maybe, maybe not, you know? Could it be?
Well, just a reminder, this area that we're talking about now for camping and stuff, the same area where the couple from Pennsylvania last fall that came down and camped with us, the same area where she believes she had her Bigfoot encounter.
Yes.
And it's all the same area. It's all the same area.
Absolutely. And Melissa, you recall one of the tracks we found on the side of the roadway, I think it was on the other side, the side of the gate, coming from the lake, or we were headed to the lake, we seen a track that appeared to have toes in. Now, if that was a bear, that was a freaking big ass bear. But it did not, like bears, this track, if it was the rear hind foot of a bear, the one thing I noticed about this track, like bears have a very narrow heel. This did not display a narrow heel. It had a very wide heel, consistent with the rest of the shape of the foot. And there was toes present in that one particular track. Now, why was there one track? Because it was right on the edge of the muddy dirt road, and part of it could have stepped off the side while it was staying on the side of the grass. I don't know. You know, I want to believe that was a possible Bigfoot track, but then again, the rest of the track was, I would have to say it was slightly inconclusive, but you could see an outline of a foot and you could see toes. Now, it was me, Tara, Pete, I'm trying to remember if Drew came with us. When we did another night hike, you and Melissa decided to stay at camp, we went on a night hike. We actually went up to the gate again. We didn't go past the gate. We just hung around. When we got to the gate, Yeah, it was actually me, Tara, and Drew. It was just the three of us. And that's the night where we were seeing whippoorwills land right in front of us, and it was pretty cool. But I don't know if Drew saw it, but I pointed it out and Tara saw it. But there was another track that looked almost identical to what me and Melissa saw. Except this one didn't really show toes. This one had a very similar shape to what me and Melissa saw. But I don't know. I just took note of that. I think I took pictures of that, but I don't recall. But it was at nighttime when we came across it, because I'm always looking for tracks on the side of a forest road or wherever possible where tracks might get picked up at. So, and then with that being said, there's been another number of shape, foot tracks, or impressions throughout this whole camp out that I've come across. I'm not going to say they were Bigfoot tracks, but I'm not going to rule that out. But a lot of them probably could be contributed to bear tracks too, because up on that ridge up behind camp where me and Drew went, we did see a lot of bear scat up there. There was some bear scat. So we know bears are working the area as well.
I just see a couple of that on my little excursion with me and Luna when we went off by ourselves on the other opposite side of the ridge, but I didn't see anything else out of the ordinary. But that's what investigation is all about.
Yeah.
That's why we're out there. But hey, we got to wrap it up here in a minute. Melissa's got to go to bed. So she's a working woman. And you're a working man.
As we get it, I got work in the morning, but I don't have to get up as early as she does.
I don't have to get up at all.
I know. That must be nice. So, I feel like I got hundreds of years to go till I get to that point.
Don't waste your time. I mean, don't waste your life away. Enjoy it while you can. It's going to get here soon enough.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm slowly approaching that point, but unless I hit the lottery, that might be a different story. But I don't play the lottery, so that may not happen.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing too.
So for those of you who stayed watching and listening, and for future listeners, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of what we had. We're going to be out there again this year in that same location in September. I know a lot of people want to get back to Elkhorn Lake, but I feel like this area needs more attention. Because I've been really wanting to pay attention to this ever since I've learned about this area years ago and heard stories about this location from both in the surrounding area. There's areas outside of this area where I've heard stories and I've had, heard other things. So, but this area, I think, is a good starting point for all these investigations. We will return back to the other location.
I don't think it's had enough attention either, from what you're getting information from you. So, major difference between the two. I like Elkhorn too, but you have a lot of human activity up there in Elkhorn because of what it's built for.
Yeah.
But back here where we're at,
exactly,
you do have human activity. I would say Elkhorn, if
but not as much.
A 10, I would say probably a 2 or a 3 here where we're at. You do have human activity, but not like an Elkhorn, which I think may increase more chance of finding more things, maybe. But I think it deserves more attention too. Especially we've had other accounts of people anonymous of what they've seen in the area too. So we can't dismiss that when they make it anonymous.
Right.
They don't want to come public, but they'll make it anonymous. So that gets your attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also perhaps pay attention to that mapping project too. So, I don't know how often that gets updated, but then again, that's another thing. When you got the Bigfoot mapping project, the BFRO data reports, a lot of people tend to look at these reports and focus on these concentrated locations where there's reports. But there's a lot of people that have witnessed and experienced things that don't report things to these people. So
exactly,
I mean, we get to hear things from personal people, people privately that don't go out into the public to share things. When they get to know who you are and what you do, and they get comfortable with you, they tend to open up a little bit. We want people to trust us. That's what we're here for. We want them to share things. So we'll see.
All right,
but
well,
so hey guys.
I hate to do it, Daniel, but we got to wrap it up. I don't want
absolutely. We'll definitely come to a close here. And everyone else, thank you for listening, tuning in. If you have any questions, you can message me, David, Melissa. You know, if you have any questions on details, hey, we'll be there. So thank you guys again, and keep it squatchy, my friends.
Absolutely.
Till next time, we're out.